We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Thịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đắc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Tô Sư Chế Đô Ye Ơ La Hờ Đi Sam Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha Tu Già Đa Gia A La Ha Đề Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Tọa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian, Wan jie nan zao yu wo jin, jie wen de shou qi, yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns and all good knowing advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父、上人、各位出家人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư Thượng Tinh Hóa quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the 3rd of November 2024. We are here at Way Mountain Temple to continue to study the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Thank you all for joining us. We are on slide 749. It's a big, important time for our country, the U.S. right now. And so it's funny that I was doing this Dharma request and realized we did it in 3 languages. 4, if you count the Koreans who cannot read Chinese. Okay, so let me tell you my bias. This is an immigrant Dharma assembly. Just kidding. Don't forget your roots. We're here because of the generosity of the people in this country. They welcome immigrants to this country. And look at what the good it did for us. They welcome Master YongHua here. This is why we're studying. This is how we're studying the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay? So anyway, vote, please, for immigration. All right, 749. The thus come one's physical form is boundless. He manifests a body commensurate with the likes of sentient beings.
如来色相无有边，随其所乐悉现身。
Okay, so we are, for context purposes, we are in a verse area of the celestial princes of the sun. They are the rulers of the heavens at the level of the sun level. So it's about the second desire heaven level. And so this chapter here, we introduced to only 10 of the more prominent among the uncountable, amongst the countless celestial rulers for that particular heaven, that level of heavens. And so these 10 celestial princes of the sun spoke each will be speaking their own verses to reiterate how they became enlightened and what is the wisdom they got from their cultivation that we can benefit from. So here it says that thus come one's physical form is boundless. This refers to the Dharma body. Okay, the Dharma body is the universe. The Buddha has 3 bodies. The first one is Dharma body, meaning once you become a Buddha, you will attain these 3 bodies. Every single Buddha has 3 bodies. They all share the same body, which is the Dharma body. They all share this universe. Very much like us, we share this space here with the invisible beings. Don't think that, that we're here alone. We are accompanied by many, many invisible beings. Many bodhisattvas who are here to study the Avatamsaka Sutra with us, and along with them the retinues and their bodyguards. Countless. Okay? Unlike the human realm where you are too busy and it's too far for you, okay? Not convenient for you. For these invisible beings, when they hear of this particular sutra being lectured, they would drop everything and go to attend. Okay? And then they even watch YouTube after for emphasis. Okay, now we understand each other. Okay. So all Buddhas share the same body, which is the universe. Okay, this is why you see, and then there are 2 more bodies. The reward body is to teach and impress bodhisattvas, because bodhisattvas is very hard to impress bodhisattvas. It's very hard to make them move. And yet bodhisattvas themselves, when they see the reward body of Buddha, they said, I want one too. Okay? It works. And that's fascinating. Thank you very much. You see? And so the Buddha knows our buttons. Okay? So the funny thing is even Bodhisattva, they talk about, the sutras talk about beyond desire and selfless and so forth. But as soon as they see the reward body of Bodhisattva, which is humongous, so adorned, you would not believe. Okay? And they say, wow, that's it. That's it. I found my vocation. There's nothing more fascinating than this in my life. So they're more determined to become Buddhas. That's what the Buddhas have to do to entice bodhisattvas. And then to entice us, low lives. Then he has a third body called transformation body, where he transforms. A sense body is about Peter size to our world. Okay? I will never become a Buddha because I'm too short. The real Buddhas, when Shakyamuni Buddha is even taller than Daniel. Yeah. Anyway, so it says here, in this slide, commentary slide 750, it says that the Dharma body actually has a physical form that is the entire universe. Isn't that interesting? So it means that we are part of his body. Is that clear? We're Buddhas too. Oh, she's a Buddha too. She's a Buddha. Look at her, red one. Is a Buddha too. Isn't it fascinating? And that's why Buddhas, unlike us, are never jealous of each other. Shakyamuni Buddha is not jealous of Amitabha Buddha. And Amitabha Buddha is not jealous of Medicine Master Buddha, because Medicine Master Buddha is in a more important position next to Amitabha Buddha than he is. They're never jealous. Only us, we are jealous because we are confused. Okay? All right. And he manifests a body to the likes of sentient beings. Commensurate, I don't know what it means. Commensurate is like measuring tapes, stuff. Nonsense. It means 随所乐, meaning whatever you like, the Buddha will manifest. Whether you like to talk to a fox as a magical fox, or you want to talk to Captain America, he'll manifest as Captain America to talk Dharma to you, for you. Okay? And that's what's interesting about it. It implies that they know exactly what you want. They know how to talk to you in your own language, in your likes and dislikes. Okay? And it also means ultimately they do everything possible to help you. How? By getting you to be receptive and like to hear the teachings. All right? So that's why le here. This is key, folks. It sounds so innocuous. It sounds so like simple, like the Korean said, what's the big deal? No, it's this le here is very key to the Dharma work, to the Bodhisattva work, meaning that you need to do something that is appealing to the living beings, whether in regular, that's why many temples, they have this tradition, they build the temple a certain way with the Buddha statues and certain roof shape. In Japan, the roof has to be whoop, it has to be that round thing here in front, okay? If not, it's not a real temple. Vietnam temple, the roof in the corner has to be like this, every time I look at Vietnam temple roof line, it's like the mustache of the Korean Buddha statues. They all have mustache here. Okay, and every one of us has certain expectation that we like, that makes us feel like going to the temple. So you see, so that's how someone will appeal to the Buddhist disciple. For us, I'm not sure what is appealing to our temple from our temple. Looks so ugly. Maybe that's what appeals to you. Okay, like people like Daniel, who is tired of going to nice-looking churches, who come and say, "Oh, this looks like dilapidated church. It must be a Buddhist temple." Okay, so no, I'm joking a lot, but this manifest body to the liking of sentient beings. Cut out all this goody-guk, whatever you call. What is that word? Gaudigu. Yeah, thank you. Okay, the body to the liking of sentient beings. Okay, all right. Liking is important, folks. Okay, don't be so cut and dry like Hinayana people. I'm pure. I'm better than you. Can we just like each other and cultivate together and like what we do? And that's what he's teaching to me. Okay? I know, shocking that some of the Vietnam people over here, they expect much more stern and serene-looking monk. Okay, 751. Opening everywhere the ocean of wisdom for all in the world. Flaming eyes contemplates the Buddha in this way.
普为世间开智海，焰眼如是观于佛。
So here, this flaming eyes, this is celestial prince, ruler. He contemplates the Buddha. He looks at the Buddha, and and immediately when you read these things, you should begin to understand that it's just words. Okay, he cannot see the Buddha. There's no way that flaming eyes can possibly see the Buddha. So that's why this tells you right away that he's able to do that because the Buddha helps him. A lot of things that we're able to do is because we got help and we don't realize it. Here, his difference in the Avatamsaka Sutra is that before they say these verses, they said, because from the Buddha's help, this is what I'm able to see. Okay? And so that's why it's a reminder for all of us that a lot of things that we're able to do, or that we don't normally do, is actually because of the aid and the help from our teachers, from our Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay? So don't be so fool yourself. We're not that important. Trust me. They have plenty of people that need the help. If you drop out, they don't even notice. Okay, so the Buddha, when they manifest the various types of bodies, a lively body could be in the form of an animal, captive avenger, you name it. It's in order, okay, in order to open, to teach to teach wisdom. And the wisdom of the Buddha is like the ocean. You cannot fathom his wisdom, and it's endless. Okay? You can learn and learn and learn, and you find it so interesting, so fascinating. As I get older and near my retirement, I find it so much more interesting now that I'm near retirement. Oh yeah, 20 more years, I'm done. Okay? So I'm more conscious of the limited time that's left, that I'm enjoying it more. I'm discovering new things. I shared with people this morning. I just said, Bai Yun. I said, oh, after 20 years, I finally understood what Bai Yun means. The bowing. Okay? You bow and in order to seek something. And my teacher said, don't seek. That's why for 20 years, I turn a blind eye on when you bow. So the teaching of this morning when we do these ceremonies, these birthday celebration, there's a Bai Yuan section, a bowing section. From now on, I tell myself, every time I bow, I will seek something. So this morning, I sought for a temple. Yeah, go big, don't go small. Yeah. Medicine Master Buddha Temple. Make sense? Go big. And he doesn't have a temple yet. Okay? So it's fascinating because the wisdom here, the more you learn, the more it becomes more fascinating. The Buddha Dharma really is, okay? The wisdom is boundless, like the ocean. Okay, next 753. The Buddha's body is peerless and beyond compare. His resplendent light floods the 10 directions.
佛身无等无有比，光明照耀遍十方。
Okay, commentary 754. The Buddha's body is peerless and beyond compare. Why is that? His resplendent light floods the 10 directions. Why his body is peerless and beyond compare? Yes, Andreas. Is this the flag I'm seeing here on your chest? And what's the black thing? Is the eagle?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very appropriate. Good timing. Go America.
Yeah. The Buddha's everything, so you can't compare anything to everything. The Buddha is everything. The Buddha's body is everything.
Yes, it's peerless beyond compare.
So you couldn't compare it to everything.
You couldn't compare it. Why is that? How does it happen?
Well, if the Buddha is everything, there's nothing to compare everything to.
That's right. It's everything. So what's there to compare? But how do you get everything? That's my point.
It's like the chicken and the egg.
Chicken and egg, yeah. There you go. So which one do you go, chicken or the egg?
I don't know, Master.
Yeah. So listen, don't talk about chicken and egg. Okay? Not to me. It doesn't work for me. It's so American. Okay? I'm an immigrant. Okay? Now I am a chicken. I'm a chicken already. How do I optimize my chicken body and get the peerless and beyond compare body like his? That's the name of the game, isn't it? That's why we're here, learning how to do it. Yeah? So how? How? No one knows? Go forth.
Thank you, Master. So we can train everybody to become a chicken like us.
Train everyone to become a chicken. No, don't be a chicken like me. Please don't. Okay? All right, anyone else? How do you become peerless and beyond compare? It is so obvious, and yet, you see, these are the most obvious teachings. But if I don't explain it to you, just body is be peerless and beyond compare, and you have no clue at how he got it. I'm very curious. When I say you have it, I have it. I want to have it too. So how did you get it? Don't you? That's how I think. I see something nice, I say, yeah, I want what she has too. Remember that scene? Naughty girl. MJ can tell you which movie it is offline. Hi, girls. Of course. There's two of them. The rest of them are innocent. Okay. So how do you get a peerless and beyond compare body? By not comparing. Isn't it obvious? Oh my God, shame on you. No? You think, there must be some kind of secret formula. It's right here in front of your eyes. He's peerless beyond compare because he doesn't compare anymore. Got it? You don't have a peerless and beyond compare body because you keep on comparing yourself. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too good looking. Anyway, go for it, people. I'm too good looking. I'm too smart. I'm too successful. I'm better than you. You're constantly comparing. That's why you cannot get a peerless and beyond compare body. Yeah? I'm richer than you. Well, you're a slave. You're a peasant. You're always, judging and comparing others. That's why you cannot get a peerless and beyond compare body. And when you get a peerless and beyond compare body, that's when you have real wisdom. And your light of wisdom, it's so resplendent, meaning so bright, and brilliant, and floods the 10 directions. It shoots out rays in all the 10 directions. Okay? 755, surpassing everything, the most supreme. This Dharma door is attained by happiness.
超过一切最无上，如是法门欢喜得。
Okay, so that light there, it's so bright, much brighter than anything, any source of light, including the sun, and the most supreme, meaning that nothing can compare. Even the light is incomparable. This Dharma door is attained by happiness. Another clue to remind you. We have, as you may have not noticed, among us today, we have a new addition of a Sangha member from the K-Land. And I brought her here in person for all of you to meet with her. And why do you think she's here? Because she's seeking happiness, American happiness. Okay, seriously, in all seriousness, when you practice, this is a reminder, remember this celestial prince here is a Mahasattva. Okay? He's no ordinary person. He's not ordinary bodhisattva. Bodhisattva's like a dime a dozen. Okay? Like the bodhisattvas we have in our temple, that we train in our temple, don't even deserve to be a retinue of any of these people. You know, they got the best. Okay? And so this Mahasattva here, Prince, is called happiness. So it tells you he's very, very happy. And that's what another clue for all of us. When you practice American Mahayana, when you're on the right track, you're happier and happier and happier. It's not like the other side, Mashishinoa, the more they practice, the more I'm better than you. Then you're so unhappy, aren't you? You're not satisfied. That's why you still think you're better than someone else. Because when you're so far ahead, and say, oh, these poor peasants. You don't talk about better anymore. Okay? You're so happy already. Got that? So cultivation should make you happier. That's how you know you're on the right tracks. Okie dokie? Next, to benefit the world, he cultivates ascetic practices, traversing all realms of existence across measureless eons.
唯利世间修苦恨，往来诸有无量劫。
Okay, 758. He says that all Buddhas, before they become a Buddha, they cultivate very, very hard. And they cultivate ascetic practices. Not just ascetic practices, but ascetic practices of Buddhas. This is what they're not saying. When we talk about ascetic practices, we're taught ascetic practices for us humans. Okie dokie? Humans, we have within the constraints of our human body and our blessings, we can only go so far. And if you overdo it, you break your body. I know that Jung here, I know I've been making fun of Jung the last few days, and he's probably feeling very bad right now. And I'm so inferior, Master has to make fun of me publicly. I cannot get any worse than this, okay? And even people online would know, okay? And Jung knows of some monks, very serious monks, and they're cultivate so hard, and they're a lot harder working than I am, than all of us, okay? And to the point where they even offer fingers to the Buddha. and what to me, what's most impressive when I heard him tell the stories, he knows that one monk does that, and then his two sidekicks also do that. So 3 of them, they do that. You know what they do? When I heard, I almost fainted. A good thing I wasn't driving. Good thing that Hoon was driving. Hoon is a lay person in Korea. And so the way they offer the fingers is they wrap it in whatever, cotton or whatever, okay? And they add kerosene, okay? And then they burn it when it's still attached to your hand. You know how painful that is? Yeah. Oh, it's the right finger. Okay. Just like a bodhisattvas. Master Xu did that too, by the way. Master Xu, he also wrapped the thing on one finger and burned it, okay, when it's still attached to his body as an offering to Manjushri, I believe. Okay? So these monks here, they offered one finger, okay, and they would burn, okay, burn completely, and then they go to the hospital. And the doctor looked at me, so what do you want me to do with it? Doctor said, if you can endure the pain, you don't need me to help you at all. Isn't that impressive? And I heard of that. I was so impressed. I was so ashamed of myself. I'm so soft. That's the first time in my life when I heard of it, seriously, that a Vietnamese monk would do that. I was so impressed, let me tell you. I would never dare do that, never. And my only excuse is that I need all my fingers to hold my 42 hands and eyes weapons. If I hold a Varsha pestle with 3 fingers, I hit someone, it falls off my hand. And they burn virtually all the fingers. And that's so impressive to me. So when these people learn about our full lotus, he said, is that all? They can sit there for 10 hours, 10 days, 10 years, and the pain doesn't bother them at all. So now will be our signals from now on. I'm telling you this story because I want to have an understanding with all of you. That in the future, if you complain that Master is too hard, Master is too mean, Master is such a, not nice person, just use polite terms. Get it? You ain't suffered enough yet. So don't be such a wimp. Yes, G.I. Joe. It's so impressive to me. I just, the thought of when he described it, I said, oh my God, this is too much. I'm ashamed of myself. I don't deserve to be here. I'm not worthy. Yes, sir. 6.
Thank you, Master. I thought that Great Buddha proved that asceticism wasn't the way, and he discontinued that early in his career. Why would this self-flagellation or self...
Okay, not to take away from the fact is very impressive. Personally, I do find it very impressive in all seriousness. I'm very serious. I'm very impressed that they can do that. It's very, very painful, especially since they don't have the skills to turn off the pain. Okay? And that's how they discover a way to turn it off. We are different. Sir, we are different. When I teach you these full lotus, all these things, I announce you, oh, you reach 6th samadhi, you reach third stage arhat, you reach 4th stage arhat. Along there's a code where when you need to burn your fingers, I teach you how to burn it. And you say, is that all? Because this, the way he did it, what's impressive to me, you guys don't understand. In order for him to do this once, he'll get to that level where he can turn off his pain. That's the only way that he can do it repeatedly. I mean, okay, they do more than once. The only way for them to do that is that the second time or third time they figure out how to turn it off. Does it make sense? So that's why when they sit in full lotus with us, they can turn it off. Okay? But the bottom line, sir, I didn't dare bring it up because that would render the achievement, minimize the achievement. To me, I was very impressed, honestly. I couldn't imagine as a soft American being able to do that from day one. That's impossible for me. We now acquire the skills to do that without problems, okay? We won't have to endure as much pain as they did. Those 3 people did, they endure a lot of pain, let me tell you. It's inhuman what they had to endure, okay? And my point being that we can do it too. I mean, some of you can do it too. I refuse to do it because I need all my fingers for my weapons. But you feel free to test yourself, okay? Yeah. And you can do it because we are able to turn off the pain. It doesn't bother us at all. Okay? And so the bottom line being, yes, let me get to the bottom line after I get number 6 here.
Thank you, Master. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the concept that's being taught here, I am trying to understand, is by undergoing the suffering of burning their fingers, they are then alleviating suffering from others?
That's what they tell themselves.
Yeah, so...
But it's a mental thing. It's like, I'm doing this to relieve suffering for you. But on your side, you say, I don't feel any relief. But that's how they motivate themselves. They said, the Buddha suffered, and she suffered, he suffered. Let me relieve some of the pain. So that's how they convince themselves, intellectually only. Okay? Does it really relieve any suffering? He can't relieve my suffering, let me tell you. When I suffer, I really, really, really suffer. What happened to Daniel? Daniel was all asleep and said, these Buddhists are so extreme. Look at him, see? Yeah.
So they're cultivating their ability to, they're building their samadhi by going through this.
They, without knowing it, unknowingly develop the samadhi because they had to deal with that extreme pain. It's inhuman, that humans cannot endure. So because of their help or their sincerity, I would not be surprised if the Bodhisattva kind of nudge them along so that they are able to endure it. And then some point in time, they all of a sudden say, that's how I can turn off the pain. This is why I don't teach any of you how to turn off the pain at all. Okay, but because the training is different. So these people, even though they don't have the Chan training that we do, okay, but they, because of these extreme practices, I don't call the ascetic practices, they're extreme practices. They are able to develop the samadhi to endure the pain, okay? But there's no wisdom. What we teach you here, for example, we lecture you on sutras and discuss things and answer your question. That's part of your wisdom development. It's not just sitting. It's not just burning fingers. It's a lot more going on. Okay. So trust me, we can do much better than them. Okay, but I'm so impressed that they can do repeatedly without any direction, without any encouragement, and it's so impressive. Yes, 5. These people are so dedicated.
Thank you, Master. Diego has a question. Emitofuo, Master, is it like what Jesus did? Supposedly, he suffered on the cross for us.
Yeah, something like that, along that line. But ultimately, I didn't dare bring it up when I was in Korea. I said, look at the Buddha. The Buddha cultivated practices, very severe practice, extreme practice of suffering, even more so than burning a finger, let me assure you. The kind of sufferings that the Buddha endured It's no way we can endure. Put it very simply put for you. If these monks were able to survive and do it more than once, okay, and still are monks, they haven't suffered as much as the Buddha did, I assure you. No comparison. This is what happened. The Buddha endured a lot more pain and suffering than we did. We ever have to do. And the Buddha says, I endure the most extreme suffering that anyone can ever put his or her body through. So let me tell you, a lot of that is not necessary. I will teach you, for you, weaklings, okay? You only need to do 12 ascetic practices. That's good enough for you to open your wisdom. You don't need to go the extreme path like I do. That's why it pays to have a teacher, not a husband, sorry. Okay? It pays to have a teacher because the teacher says, like Master Hsien-Yuen, same thing. Master Hsien-Yuen endured hunger, endured a lot of pain and suffering. And he says, you know what? For you Americans, you only need to do these things. Sit, sleep, eat one meal a day, wear your sash and so forth. These are minimal ascetic practices that's enough for his own disciples to become enlightened. That's what he did for us. The Buddha, at Buddha's time, he taught his disciples 12 ascetic practices, 12 different practices. Master Hsien-Yuen came here and says, you don't need to practice all 12. You only need to practice these few I teach you. And that's enough. So that's the role of a teacher. A teacher is supposed to save you time, give you shortcuts. Meaning that a teacher has to suffer a lot more than you have to, so that he can discover shortcuts for you. Does it make sense? Anyone has any questions or comments? Okay, but I want you. Yes, go first.
Hello, Master. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I have a question about that I wanted to ask in the morning during the medicine master
Yes.
birthday.
Yes.
And so you said two important things when it comes to practicing the Dharma. One of them is sincerity, and the other one was to have faith. Are they one and the same? And if not, what do you mean by sincerity? How can we apply sincerity?
Sincerity is you need to do something to show your sincerity. Do you really want it? You really want it, you need to walk the walk. You can't just talk. Don't be like ordinary people. They just talk and sell themselves, make promises, and then disappear at the first moment there's something that's too difficult that they don't like. That's lack of sincerity. They're not willing to do it. Okay? That's sincerity. It's a good question, by the way. Your question is getting better and better. Take it easy on me. There's so much I can answer. Okay? What about faith? What's the difference between sincerity and faith? So that's why this morning I said the reason the medicine master Dharma is disappearing because the monks, especially Sanghas, lack faith. So what's that? What's the difference? Sincerity is you. You, what are you doing to prove that you're sincere? Don't just say, Master, I'm very sincere. I believe in you. I said, yeah, thank you. I believe in you too. Duh. Okay. So what are you doing? Sincerity requires action. You got to do something to show you're sincere. What about faith? The faith I was referring to is the faith of the monks and nuns. The medicine Master Buddha Dharma is disappearing because the monks and nuns lack faith, like I lack faith. What does it mean? It means that when you read the sutras, he said, my 12th vow, my first vow is that you all will, my vow number, whatever, is that your body will be free from illnesses and from diseases. When I become a Buddha, when you recite my name, your body will be free from illnesses and diseases. If not, I won't become a Buddha. And I, as a monk, I read and say, I don't know. Because you know what? I recite his name. I'm still sick. No faith. Because my point is that if you listen to that and deep down in your psyche, okay, you say, yeah, maybe. It's just like Daniel. He talks about, I believe in my God. But as soon as it's time for him to walk on that ark, because, you know, in Valencia, there's a big flood that killed 210 people recently. And if they had an ark, those 210 people could have been saved. And if these people, when it's time for them to walk on the ark and say, I don't know if this is going to save me. That's lack of faith. Got that? If these are, the state of the Buddhas and Bodhisattva, Buddha Dharma is beyond our comprehension, beyond our imagination. If you don't have faith, the sutras here says the Buddha can do this, can do that. And when you read that, honestly, I said, it's nice, but I can't see how it could happen. Anyone? My first reaction when I read the Avatamsaka Sutra was this. I was fooled myself. I said, wow, it's nice. But I hope no one will ask me because I don't know how to explain it. I know I'm the only one. All of you believe it, right? In the back of your mind, yeah? You say, it's a little bit too far. The sutra takes it too far. Can you give me something that's more reasonable, like Hinayana sutras? This Mahayana, these teachings here, is no way for you to enter the Buddha's wisdom unless you have faith. They said it already. I still didn't understand it. They said the Buddha Dharma is vast, the ocean. The only way to enter it is through faith. And so what does it mean? It means that if you have this much faith, you can enter this much. If you have more faith, enter deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper. So my faith, and the reason I'm here, is that my faith is deeper than yours. That's all. That's all it means. I'm sharing with you my deeper faith. Does it make sense? For me to tell you, I believe everything the Buddha tells you and explains to you here in the sutra is a lie. I don't understand. How can I possibly believe? I say, okay, let me say I will not believe. Okay? Yes, 6.
Master,
Jung really so happy that so after all, Master is so limited. I'm so right in not believing him. You damn right, Republican. Yes, 6.
yes, Master, getting back to the subject of bearing suffering.
Yeah.
It seems to me that there's 2 pathways you can take the Buddhist teachings with regard to asceticism. It could be that, yes, he is experiencing your suffering for you, or 2, it's a belief that he is an example of what we can do ourselves and bear the suffering and get through it ourselves.
Right. Very good. I like it. I'm glad you voiced your opinion. Okay? Here's my problem with these teachings. When you tell me they endure the suffering so that to alleviate all their suffering, I say, I don't understand. I don't see how a smart person like Peter would endure suffering to alleviate suffering of an immigrant. He's pale face, red face, thank God. Don't ever have an orange face. Orange face is not real. Okay? Please. He's red-faced, he's pale face, red face, okay? And for him to tell me that I'm going to endure suffering to help immigrants, I find it hard to believe. It's like you asked a Republican in Go Forest, the guy that I've been giving a hard time the last 2 days, to endure suffering for Democrats. You see, get out of here. Okay? So there's so much we can do. Let me tell you, as an educated person here in the Western education system, I went to French high school, and after that, only American universities, okay? Nothing but Western education. And for you to tell me that I must suffer for some people I don't know, especially some people I don't like, forget it. Still today, forget it. I don't like you, suffer. I hope you go to hell. Okay? Oh, look, Jim is so shocked. Look at that, look at his face. Really? You a monk? Yeah. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. No, I'm just thinking that if one had that capability to do it, it would be something from experience that you know you have that capacity. But to hear someone tell you to do this without having that capacity seems pointless.
Yeah, that's precisely my point. I'm not there. For you to tell me that someone I don't know has been suffering like Jesus for my sake, I say, yeah. That's why even I feel sorry for people like Daniel. He believes anything he's told. I have a hard time that the Jesus guy, I never met Jesus. And you expect me to believe that he would suffer for me? I'm not a nice person. Why will he suffer for me? I have a hard time suffering for people I don't like. Okay? So, to me, this is the standard teaching from a Chinese. I will not explain to you this way here, cultivate a set of practices, undergo suffering to alleviate suffering, sentient beings, like Master Hsuan says, I eat 1 meal a day so more people have food to eat. I say, seriously? You eat 1 meal a day and you throw the rest in the garbage and Xian Tung goes crazy. Xian Tung says, we have too much food waste. I can't stand it. And she fights with me, she fights with everyone. That's more suffering to me from eating 1 meal a day. Not relieving suffering at all. And the food we waste goes to, like Xian Tung said, it goes to the garbage bin. It's not going to anyone else. How is it relieving the hunger and suffering of others. I find hard to see the direct relation, the direct connection. Okay? But let me explain to you. This is how I explain it for the people in the 21st century. People like you are too smart for the Chinese teachers. You cultivate ascetic practices in order, because that's one of the best ways to open your wisdom quicker, I assure you. These 12 ascetic practices are designed to help you open your wisdom so much faster. The more of these you practice, the quicker your wisdom will unfold. That's a secret, Buddhist secret. This is Buddha's wisdom. He says, I've done everything possible that a human being can possibly endure, and I pick these are the best ones for you from now until the end of the Buddha Dharma. This is all you have to do. If you are very good, you do 12. You're not as good, do 11, 10. And now, at our times, Master Hsien pick about a handful. That's all we need. And that's wisdom. Because you do that, it's not to alleviate the suffering sentient beings. That's baloney. That's too Chinese to me. Okay, I find it hard to believe. You do it because it's so much more efficient for you to open your wisdom. And when you open your wisdom, that's when you know how to help and benefit the world. Not like alleviate suffering of sentient beings. That's too Buddhist. A person like me have a hard time accepting that concept. So you suffer and you claim to help me, to help my family? I don't see any direct relationship. It's very hard for me to accept it. Okay? So what are we talking about? Faith. Like going back to the original question. You have to be smart about faith. You cannot believe blindly. Yeah, look at Murali. Look at him. He's selective, very selective. He says, "I'm here, but I pick and choose, man. I'm not going to believe everything this guy's telling me." Yes, 6. Except for Peter, he believes everything.
Thank you, Master. So
he's not going to touch that.
Which part? The immigrant part or the suffering part?
No, believe everything.
Oh. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll avoid that. I'll dance around that one. I think for the alleviating suffering of other people through your own suffering, when I was growing up and I was raised Christian, I would think about how Jesus died for our sins, like the typical talking point, like they would say. And you see the pictures of his hands with the nails through them on the cross, and he's got the crown of thorns, and he's all emaciated on the cross, and it's awful, and you're like...
My first time I saw that, I said, ouch! I was so frightened. I said, this is what it takes to be Jesus? I don't want to be Jesus.
Yeah, it looks like...
My first reaction, I said, I was a teenager. I first saw that picture, that photo. I said, ouch! It must hurt a lot. No way, I'm not. I'm going to become Catholic. These guys are extreme.
And I felt exactly the same way. Like, that would be no good. That would be awful. And looking back on it now, when I was 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 years old, I didn't know what I was experiencing, but I feel like it opened up my compassion, because imagining the pain that he was suffering for me made me feel pain and made me open up my heart to him. And I think when I was feeling that compassion, it did alleviate some of my suffering.
It's a good thing he's here. It sounds like he should have been at a church, He suffered for me. I have a hard time believing he suffered for me. I don't see any direct correlation between his suffering and my suffering, honestly.
Well, and I would take the same concept, and I feel the same way of when you describe the monks who burn their fingers. I think about the incredible pain that would be, and that they endure it, and it opens my compassion. Involuntarily, I should say, it just happens. And when my compassion is opened, I don't feel like I'm suffering.
This guy is wacko. Yes, go ahead, 9.
Thank you, Master. This is an interesting conversation because I also grew up Catholic, and I was pretty troubled by the whole crucifixion. But the thing I kept seeing portrayed in the movies, and also I guess it's mentioned in the Bible, when he was on the cross and he was being tortured, he makes this statement where he says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And that, for some reason, stuck with me because I kept thinking, what is this knowledge or wisdom that he's talking about that he can make that with such confidence? Like I felt there was some kind of wisdom that was unknown to the rest of us, and that's something that always stuck with me personally.
No, I was a lot more radical than you. I said, I don't believe it. Why would he suffer for me? And I don't see how his being nailed in this thing here is going to help my pain and suffering. I was severely depressed, by the way. Seeing that didn't help me at all. Yes, Catholic.
I don't know, but for me, when I saw the movies or I read the Bible or the priest explained to me about the Jesus crucified, I always thought about, well, if God gave himself like that, why not me, that I'm not even a God, should just carry my cross and suffer? Probably like sometimes it could be worse than Jesus ever did, or it could be less than whatever Jesus did. So for me, give me courage about suffering, and I'm afraid of suffering, but it gives me the courage to continue.
Yes, I hear you, and I know that it worked for some of you, where you believe that, yes, it helps me relieve my suffering by his going through these extreme pain and suffering. It helps a lot of people, I agree. And this is why the Chinese still explain it as these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas undergo a lot of suffering to relieve our suffering. It's true. It is true, ultimately. But for me in the 21st century, I find it hard to make a connection between their suffering and relieving my suffering. And it causes problems for people like me, who says, I don't know how to rationalize that. Okay? For the Christians, the Catholics, and Hindus, and externalists believe it because they heard it before, and they believe it again. For me, I have a hard time accepting it because it's not rational. It's not based on facts. Okay? So I struggle with that. So I chose not to go into it. That's why when I explain this to you, and let me tell you that the sutra itself is extremely precise, people, to benefit the world. It's never, and the Chinese, like Master YongHua and all his predecessors, chose to explain it as to undergo suffering themselves so as to alleviate suffering of sentient beings. Let me tell you, for all this time, I find it hard to make the connection or explain it to people who are educated in the West because they demand proof. And so this is kind of can of worms I try to avoid. So that's why, absolutely. You have no pressure. I went to Korea, I sat up here, and 170 people, and they're looking for every single, they watch every single twig, what is that? twitch I have my eyes. You're under intense light, and they can't be happy enough that when you make a mistake, okay. So I have a hard time because I'm making the connection. I understand that, yes. Let me explain to you this phrase. This is how I would explain this. He says, here's the secret. This is Buddhist secret. When the Buddha taught these ascetic practices, okay, it is designed to help us as a shortcuts, because instead of doing the regular nuns practices, he says you can do a lot more intense ascetic practices. You don't have to, but if you do these ascetic practices, your wisdom will unfold a lot faster. That's my experience. And when you open your wisdom faster, then you can benefit more people. You can benefit the world. Don't tell me about suffering so that you relieve my suffering. Prove it. How are you going to prove that? And you see, point number 2, it sounds like you selling. I'm suffering for you. If you're suffering for me, please don't tell me, because it makes me suffer when I hear it. Does it make sense to you? It bothers me. If you say, I'm suffering for you, it's like my mother. I'm suffering for you. And for my entire life, I felt so bad. She had to suffer for me. I feel guilty. Vietnam mothers, you do it to us. I grew up feeling so angry at myself because my mom kept on telling me, I suffer for you. I said, I'm not good enough. I'm a man. It's like Chung In Sunim. I'm a man. You don't have to suffer for me. Right, Chung In Sunim? I struggle, let me tell you. It really bothered me as a teenager. My mother used to tell me that, I suffer so much for you, and this is how your father treats me, and so forth. And I said, let me go become a soldier so that I can make money, and I'm not a burden to you, and so forth. I don't want you to suffer for me. I can take care of myself. That's how I renounced my Vietnam heritage. I'm French, and then American. Now I'm back to Vietnam again. Because I have Vietnam disciples. You see the problem? It works for the Asians, but I find it hard to connect with this kind of language. It is true. To benefit the world, that's how you cultivate practices, ascetic practices. That's all you need to know. You do it, then you know why. Okay? But to explain it, because I go suffering to alleviate suffering in the world, there's too Asians. I don't talk like that. You know that for the last 19 years of speaking Dharma, I never said I suffered on your behalf because thanks to my mother. You should all be grateful to her. I didn't try to make you feel guilty. Yes. 6.
Thank you, Master. But I really do appreciate you diving into it today because your commentary fills the gap that isn't on the screen right now. I think when you say willing to undergo suffering themselves to unlock their wisdom, which will help them to alleviate suffering of sentient beings.
Yeah.
That's the subject
You need to have wisdom to alleviate suffering. You cannot say, I suffer because I want to help alleviate your suffering. To me, it's baloney. Because my mom suffered and she didn't alleviate my suffering. She made me suffer more because I felt guilty. As a teenager, I felt very guilty. Let me tell you, I love my mom. No one knows it.
Yeah, because, infamously, when Darth Vader is leering over Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan says, if you strike me down now, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. He's going to get Jedi wisdom, and then he can help all the Jedi.
That's right.
That's what's happening here.
That's right.
One finger at a time.
Amen. Chú Sunim, try with your pinky. It's true. All these teachings are true. But, if you try to say it to me, I said, no. You don't talk to me. You can't make me feel guilty. Okay? You sound like Jesus. Yes. Catholic's girlfriend.
Hello, Master. Regarding relieving suffering, it just dawned on me that I would like to share a little real relieving suffering story. I think that people cultivate at this temple over time has that power, because yesterday, I forgot when, but it was yesterday during one of the Dharma talk, or maybe Saturday talk, I was really suffering from the beginning of the talk for whatever reason. I was just suffering, cry, really, really painful. Tiếng Việt nói khó chịu quá. The lady sitting next to me, I think she's been with you cultivating for a few years. She saw me suffering. So I was suffering for like 20, 30 minutes like that. And then she took my hand and she just held it and she gave me the energy. I don't know what happened. So apparently she's now strong enough to do that. So in a few minutes, my suffering was gone.
Wow.
I was...
What's her name?
Totally okay.
Yeah. What's her name? Is she here today?
She's downstairs, I think.
She's downstairs?
Yeah.
You have a phone?
Vietnam lady.
Vietnam, very good.
So, and she really looked a lot better than a few years ago. I was very impressed, and it was real. She was somehow able to help me. And then for the next half hour after that, I was totally okay. I was smiling. I was able to sit straight. And then I was able to talk to another person who might be not feeling too good in the temple. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even be able to talk to another person.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Master.
Yeah. No, I didn't do anything. Don't thank me, please. Now I feel guilty. Don't lay guilt trips on me. It's my mom ruined my life already. I'm still very sensitive about guilt. Anyway, I'm very glad to hear that. It's lovely. I want you to know that because of my hard childhood, from the way my mom raised me and then my master trained me, I'm too intense, I think. And so I have a tendency to push people a lot, especially since Blue Mountain Temple. I was very bitter for a while. I was very angry because of the things that were done to me in such a vicious way, especially from my own master's disciples. Okay, it's no justification for it. And in particular, what's amazing about it is that I knew Master YongHua was behind it. And yet, what's amazing to me, because as his disciple, he could have said, hey, cut it out. This is nonsense. You're left home people. You're not supposed to do these things. You do this, you're destroying my Dharma. My Dharma, his Dharma. If you do that as his representatives, they'll be destroying his Dharma. And then he said nothing. So I knew he's behind it. But I was very angry because why? Why would you do that to me? What did I do to you? I didn't do anything. I just lived my life. I tried to cultivate, that's all. I'm not after your bowl of rice, I'm not after your disciple, I'm not after anything. I just live my life, that's all. But we all are suffering. I was very angry, but what's amazing is that I was never angry at the person who's the culprit, Master YongHua. Isn't that interesting? I have all the justification in the world to be angry at him because I know it's his disciples are doing it to me. All I have to do is say, hey boss, you tell them cut it out. This is wrong. You don't do that to anyone, especially if you are his successors, your successors. You can't do that. Okay? And what's amazing is that it's a test, folks. I never blame him. I never lost faith in him. If you do stupid things to hurt yourself, it's your problem. It's not Master YongHua's problems. I was stupid. I said, they are your disciples. You made promises I thought I'm going to get help from them, through them. But I never got it, okay? Instead of getting help, they gave me a lot of hard time. They tried to destroy my career. And you could have stopped it. See, I was thinking like an ordinary person. I said, they are your disciples, okay? All you have to do is say, hey, this is not true. How could you possibly be my successor and try to destroy someone's life? That's wrong. He did nothing wrong to deserve this. But I was thinking in that as an ordinary person, I put the blame on them. Instead of, let me tell you, instead of doing what I've been doing to most of you, is to endure it. To endure what cannot be endured. And don't blame others. It's no one's fault. Just endure. And you will understand why. If you say it's his fault, it's her fault, you'll never understand why. You never open your wisdom, folks. Is it clear? This is the most important message I have to share with you today. If you are suffering, we're talking about ascetic practices, suffering because this person does this to you and that person does the other things to you, stop blaming them. Endure it. If you can endure all that suffering, not just ascetic practice. Ascetic practice is the difference between that and ascetic practices. Ascetic practices, you do it to yourself. Whereas when others are unfair to you, treat you unfairly, are mean to you, it's easier for you to blame them under their teachers and their mothers and their fathers and so forth, their presidents and their Republicans and Democrats and so forth. Okay? Just endure. That's how you open wisdom. Shh. It's no one's fault. It's an opportunity for you to endure in order for you to open your wisdom. If you told me, let me stop today and telling you. If you told me I can cut, if when I was there, when I started, my master was gone, if he appeared to me and said, hey son, if you cut 7 fingers, you offer 7 fingers to me, You open your wisdom, I would have done it, let me tell you. I was that crazy. I said, I'm going to have one goal, make it. It's a do or die for me, that's it. It's no backing out. If he said, you give me your, 5 fingers, give me one hand, I would have done it without thinking. But he gave me something better. He says, much better. I still have my 10 fingers. Okay? I'm lucky, I'm sharing with you. I lucked out because I simply had no choice but endure it. Because blaming them does nothing for me. They're still there. They have the money, the reputation, the disciples, and so forth. I blame them. It does nothing for me. Okay? The only thing I can do is endure it. Because I said, I'm going to endure it because one day when I am free and I am stronger than you, I can laugh at your face and say, losers. You see the power of enduring it? Huh? Stop blaming your wife, men. Stop blaming your mother. I stopped blaming my mother. I still love you with all my heart. Vietnam monk. Thank you, everyone. We stop here today. Vote, okay? Vote for immigrants. Don't forget, most of us are immigrants. Or sons and daughters of immigrants.